Hi everyone, it's Sue Plumb here to share another scrapbook process video with you. Today's layout that I am sharing was created for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team, and it was based on that mood board there. Now that mood board was designed by me, and it's called Creative and Cozy, and it was designed for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio July monthly challenge. And if you'd like to join in with that challenge, you can do so in the Cocoa Vanilla Studio community group on Facebook, and I will put a link to that down below. So for this layout, I am working with the brand new Storyteller collection from Cocoa Vanilla, and it is a cracker. I absolutely love this collection. All those beautiful blues that it's got in it, I love it. It's totally my jam. So I was really attracted to that Spring Fling floral paper from the collection, which is the signature floral paper. And I really wanted to feature that on this page that I was creating. I also wanted to create a mixed media layout, and it gave me an opportunity to use one of my favorite ever Distress Oxide colors, which is Faded Jeans. That's that beautiful blue you can see I'm working with there. So I used the simple packaging technique just to apply some color to my cardstock. It just gave me that beautiful sort of watercolory background. And then I proceeded with the patterned papers. Now, as I said, I wanted to feature that Spring Fling floral paper on this page, but I didn't want to just use it fussy cut, as I know a lot of people will fussy cut the entire sheet of florals. I did want to use a piece of it in its entirety and use it as a pattern. But I needed to break it up on my page somehow. Now, I thought it would be ideal to flip it over and actually use the blue that's on the back of it, just to use some strips of it at the top of my page there, so you can see that I am just tearing along those edges because it gives natural texture to the page. I also like the way that that uneven shape breaks up some of the uniformity on the page with too many, straight edges. So my theory for this page was to layer those patterned papers, as you can see at the top of the page there. I've got the watercolor sort of spilling down the page. I'm going to pop my photo over the top, as you'll see in a minute. And then I wanted to put some of the florals and continue the same floral pattern and have that cascading down the page. Now, when it came to the mood board, there was a few elements from the mood board that I was attracted to. Obviously, I was attracted to the florals. I was attracted to the colors, sort of the blue with the pops of red, which worked really well with the Storyteller collection. There was also an image of a typewriter there. So I wanted to introduce something that was relevant to that beautiful vintage typewriter. So I pulled out this background stamp, which is from Carabelle Studio, and it's just a background of like typewritten letters randomly placed all over the place. And I used that just to add some extra detail to my background. So that was another one of the elements from the board that I was able to pull in and include on my page. So you can see I've got those two papers layered at the top there. I don't stick the papers all the way to the edge because it allows me to use my finger then just to ruffle up those torn edges and really exaggerate the texture that they add to the page. Now, I've got a photo there of my family. That's my beautiful family. So me, my hubby, and our 3 kids. This one was taken fairly recently. I think we were on our way out to dinner. So that was the 5 of us. We rarely get a photo with the 5 of us all together. And I wanted to add a couple of papery layers behind the photo just to help it pop off from the page. So I decided to use the A5 paper stack. That has papers that are obviously a lot smaller than the 12 by 12, so it saves you from cutting up an entire sheet of 12 by 12. There's also a few exclusive prints in that A5 paper stack that you won't get in the 12 by 12 papers, and they are ideal for layering like this. So I've picked out a couple of patterns. I didn't even measure these. You can see I just randomly rogue went in with my scissors because I knew I was going to distress the edges of them, so they didn't really need to be perfect. I wasn't looking for perfect in behind the photo. On top of those papery layers, I am also going to add some frayed gauze for texture. Now, this is something that I use usually, and I am also going to use a paper doily there. Now, I do believe we still have some of these paper doilies available in the Cocoa Vanilla Studio store. I'll pop a link to the store down below, or to the doily category at least, and you can have a look and see if there are some still there. Okay, so there I've got my layers in behind my photo there, my papers. I've tucked the doily in. Now, the doily was also an element that I drew from the mood board. If you have a look at the mood board, and I'll put it up again near the end of this video, you will see that there is actually a doily in the picture with the vintage typewriter. So that was a perfect excuse for me to pop a doily on this page. As I said, I'm going to add some frayed gauze for texture, and that's going to complete all of the layers in behind my photo. Now, with the florals that I wanted to have spilling down the page, rather than fussy cutting all the flowers from the patterned paper, believe me, I'm not a huge fussy cutter. I don't mind doing it, but I'm not a very precise fussy cutter. I mean, there are a few girls on the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team whose fussy cutting skills are amazing, and they obviously spend quite some time doing their fussy cutting. That's not me. When I fussy cut, it's always just a quick, messy, not precise, cut it out, stick it down kind of gal. That's me. So I decided at this point that I needed something else down along the bottom of the page because it was so top heavy at this point. I needed to balance out that bottom area of the page. So I added a little torn piece of that same blue paper that I had further up the page, just to allow where I've got the watercolor there, just it virtually touches it then, and it anchors it down to the bottom of the page. I created a little cluster on top of that bit of paper. So I'm using, again, something that was inspired by the mood board. You would have seen it had an image of a book in the mood board. Actually, there was a couple of books on the mood board. So this little piece from the chipboard sticker sheet, which has an open book with the flowers coming up out of it, was a perfect piece to use. So I popped that over the pattern paper at the bottom. I layered that with that little sticker, phrase sticker, which says Precious Moments. I also ended up tucking in a couple of other little bits and pieces to finish off that cluster at the bottom of the page. I believe I used little buds from the floral ephemera pack, and I ended up adding a little die cut butterfly and some hearts from the foam title sticker sheet as well. You will see that when we get to it. So getting back to the florals on this page, as I said, fussy cutting and I don't mind doing it, but I had a whole pack of floral ephemera there, which features the same flowers that you can see on this paper. However, they are already clustered together on these pieces, and they just are really easy to work with. So I decided to keep things simple for myself, and I just went in ahead with the floral ephemera pack and added these floral clusters. So you can see I've gone with the visual triangle. I've got one up in the top left corner. I've got one on the right-hand side of my photo, and then I'm adding one in below along that bottom edge of the photo. And this is the point at which my florals are going to like spill and cascade down the page over the top of that watercolor that I've got there, and all of those stamped letters as well. So this was really easy. It was just a matter of picking through the floral ephemera pack and finding pieces that would work in terms of colours and size. And I wanted to have a different variety of flowers there, different shapes as well. I also used foam tape underneath some of the pieces, obviously, to create different heights on the page. That gives you dimension. And I also, when I was sticking some of these flowers, you'll see that I just use a tiny dab of adhesive in the centre. And then I'm bending up a lot of the edges and the corners away from the page just to further add dimension to the page. Now, for the title of this page, you can see I have chosen that little banner die cut there that says Special to Me. I didn't want to use a large title on this page because it was already so busy with all of the florals, and I didn't want to detract too much from the photo. So I thought running that little banner along the bottom edge of the photo, that helps draw the eye in and obviously keep the photo as the centerpiece of the page. So I am nearing the end of my layout now. You can see I'm still finishing off those florals. Some of them, as I said, are stuck directly onto the background. Some of them have got foam tape underneath. One of the things that I did end up doing to this page before I finished off was adding some black splatters using ink, because those areas on the page that feature the white space were just looking a little bit too clean and neat for me. And the other reason I wanted to do that was to tie in some of that darkness that you can see in our photo. I needed to tie that into the page because it was, at this point, it was looking quite heavy on the page compared to everything else. So I needed to get some more of that black onto the page. Now you can see the other thing that I am doing here, which was also to tie in the black on the page, was I used some of the hearts from the foam title stickers and I just scattered those around my layout. So I have managed to tie in a number of elements from that mood board that I designed. As I said, I've got the florals, I've got the book, I've got the typewritten text, I've got the doily, I've got the colours. You can see the mood board again there. And if you would like to join in with this challenge, please join us over in our Cocoa Vanilla Studio Facebook community group. There's a $25 store voucher up for grabs every month. And I hope to see your creations in that album soon. That's about it from me today. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you do so. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, pop them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching today. I will see you next time. Bye.